Hello, my name is Rachel Nicholson. I'm the Dean of Students here at the Cross Christian Academy, Oklahoma Adolescent Teen Challenges, and I have been with this program for over 15 years. And like I said, I'm the Dean of Students for the school, and so I'm going to give you a review of the school and what it does and how it works. Hopefully it'll answer some questions that you guys have. If not, at the end of this, you can feel free to email me, Miss Carrie, or Miss Gordon, and we'd be happy to help answer any questions you may have. One of the biggest things about our school is that we're a fully accredited school. We're accredited with ICAA, which is the International Christian Accrediting Association, and we're also accredited with Cognia, which is a kind of a secular accreditation process. And we're also our credits are covered by the Oklahoma State Department of Education as well. So the classes that your student gets here should transfer to wherever they go from here, or if they stay with us and graduate, we make sure that they meet the Oklahoma graduation requirements. Anytime that the student comes into our program, they are underneath the Oklahoma graduation requirements, and I keep them under those. But I do hold off on a couple of the Oklahoma specific ones, like Oklahoma history. If your kid is going to go back to California and graduate high school there, I'll hold off on that until we know that they're going to actually graduate our high school. I wanted to talk a little bit about our program and our school coexist together. The program doesn't run without the school, and the school doesn't run without the program, and they run together. One of the things that I say is that you have your student here at Teen Challenge of Oklahoma Adolescent Centers because you know that they need help, and so you bring your student here for the program, but we're also, like I said, fully accredited, and so that the school helps the students get caught up if they're behind. We do dual enrollment with Oral Roberts University out of Tulsa online, so if they're at that level, we are able to do that and get them high school credits and college credits at the same time. There is a criteria that they have to meet for us to be able to do that, but my point is that if you were just looking for a private Christian school for your student, you could have found one, but you looked out for a boarding school for at-risk youth, and so that's why you have your kid here. School is important here. Like I said, we go out and get a higher accreditation than what's just the standard, because it is that important to us here, but the program is the most important thing that we can do. I could hand your students a piece of paper with their name on it, but if we're not helping them succeed outside of the program, if we're not helping them to get a hold of their coping skills and use them, if we're not helping them with whatever their issues were, then it's not working for both the school and the program. I would like for parents to know that when their kids are here, the school is important, but the program is more crucial. I wanted to start off with telling you a little bit about the school. Like the very first thing that they do when they get here, obviously most kids that come here and they don't want to be here, and so we have to give them some time. If I just threw classwork and a computer in front of your kid the day that they walked in, they wouldn't be there mentally to be able to handle that. They need a little bit of time of grasping the fact that they're here, and some need more time than others. But for the first couple weeks, they read the Cross and the Switchblade, which is the Teen Challenge book that David Wilkerson wrote that tells about the program, about Teen Challenge itself, and they do summary reports for each chapter, and then after that we put them in our biblical-based worldview class called the Foundations for Living. And when we put them in that, it's on the computer, and they get acclimated to how we grade, what our process is, what it looks like for percents, and also gives them an idea of like how this program works. And so when I say percents, like we have a standard of 13% a week is what your students are supposed to get, and that's out of all of their classes. So if they only have one class, they need to get 13%. But if they have 5, then they get 3 in math, 3 in social studies, 3 in science, and then 4 in history, and that's going to add up to 13%. And that 13% is based on a 9 to 10 month program of school. So if they come in on level, then ideally they're going to leave here on level. Even though it feels like school goes slow at the beginning, and it does, once they get it and they start working towards it and they start working the program, it's easily caught up on. So I don't want parents to get worried at first when their kid gets here and they start to get behind in school. It's all going to work out in the end, as long as the student is giving their effort and working towards it. Then it all works out. Also, this Crossing the Switchblade and the FFL, Foundations for Living class, gives them time to be more comfortable being here. Also helps me to have time to get transcripts. It helps them get acclimated to the program. As soon as they're done with Foundations for Living, I should have their transcript and their ed plan put together so that they can go right into their core classes, and that should be about a month and a half ish into their time here. Like I said, originally school starts slow. Most of the time they're students when they come here, and I like to be honest with parents, like they're going to try everything that they can to try and get pulled. They're going to pull on your heartstrings. They're going to pull on your need for education to be met. Some of the traps that we have parents fall into is they say, I just need you to get caught up in school and then I'll bring you home. We encourage you not to make statements like that, because the students get tunnel vision and they don't want to work on the other reasons while they're here. They just want to focus on school and getting that done, because that's the key to getting them out. And so we ask you not to say things like that, because it doesn't help them with their program. And that's really what we're going to focus on. School we have, but we want to make sure that we're meeting the program and helping them out that way as well. Some of the ways that they're going to tell you that they can't get schoolwork done is they can't do school online. Well, one of the only good things COVID brought about was all students have had a time of doing classes online, and so most of them have done that. And so it might be a little different program that we use, but most schools have it where they can do school at home as well, both now at this time. They don't get tutoring. That there's a process that they have to go through to get tutoring here. They have to try, and I'll go into that, what I mean by that later, because I can see how long a student works on an assignment, and if they're taking ample amount of time to work through it, or if they're just rushing through it to get the answer so that they can get done. Also, they have to have a half a page note per lesson, so that we know that they're slowing down and they're taking their time and they're writing notes. They have to have their vocab for every unit wrote out. And if there's a link that we can send to them, like a Khan Academy type link, to try and help them figure it out, that's what they need to do. If after those steps they don't have, they're still not getting it, we want them to sign up for tutoring so that our teachers can tutor them. However, most of the students we have want to skip those steps and just say they're not getting tutoring. I can also, one of the other things that we have in the classroom is they sign up for tutoring. So if a kid's saying, hey, I'm not getting tutoring, one of the first questions I ask is, have you signed up? And that's one of the ways that we teach kids to start self-advocating for themselves. Like, they could tell you, I'm not getting tutoring, and you guys can email us and say, hey, my kid's not getting tutoring. But if they're not telling us that they need tutoring, they're not learning to self-advocate for themselves. And so that's something that we're wanting to continue to build on and have them have that skill when they leave here. So they need to speak with us and let us know that they're having trouble. On lessons, they get 3 attempts. On quizzes, if they take it the first time and they fail it, they use their second attempt to write it out and find the correct answers in the lessons. And the third attempt, they retest, or they redo the quiz. And if they get a 75 or higher, they move on. And if they don't, they just get the score that they have. We have lowered the percentages that quizzes are worth and up the percentages on the tests and the quizzes. So on the test, if they take the first attempt on the test and they get a 65, let's say they got a 65, our threshold is 75. They'll use their second attempt to write it out and get the correct answers and turn it in to be graded, and then they will review that and retake it. If they fail the attempt on their test that third time, even after they've gone through and wrote it out, then they're going to have that test or that unit reassigned to the kid, because they're obviously rushing through and not doing the work. So we do have a good safety net for your students. If they're at least giving the effort, the right amount of effort, and not rushing through it, they should be able to stay on track if they're doing what they need to do. If they're trying to rush, then it's obviously going to hold them up a little bit, because there's going to be extra work. Therefore, we are encouraging them to do the work correctly. After your students had been here for 3 months, if you'll contact me and let me know that your students has made it for 3 months, I can set you up with what is known as our parent portal. And with that parent portal, you all can go in and follow along with your students. Okay, another thing that we were going to talk about, I know it is still fairly new, but the thought is that we want to find a good stopping point. So about the time that your student is getting level 5, we're going to be looking at their school and say, okay, so they're going to be transitioning out in about 2 months. So where are they at in their education? Where can we find a good stopping point between the two, program and school? Or if you're wanting them to continue. So we do have a program with our distance education where if you want them to continue to do Ignitia at home, we have our distance education that you can sign up for afterwards and do our curriculum and our program at home and still be in our school, even though they're not here in the program. And that we offer that for our students that actually complete the program here. We offer them the distance program at home, and we'll talk about that closer to the time. But your student, no matter where they come in their education, we're going to put them where we have whole semesters and half semesters. And so that's we only do that kind of breakdown. So if you brought your kid in March and they didn't finish that second semester, I'm going to have to start them at the beginning of that semester. And I can do credit recovery, which is something where if they have the information or they've already tried it and maybe they didn't pass because of the teacher or something at their previous school, or they just weren't doing the work but they knew the information. We get that a lot with students. Yeah, I knew this stuff, I just didn't do my homework. I can put them in a credit recovery portion, and they will take a pre-test at the beginning, and if they get a 75 or higher, it'll move them to the next unit so that they're not having to redo all that information if they already know it. But let's say they get a 65, then what it'll do is for the rest of that unit, it'll take out the information that they know and only have them learn the information that they don't know, and that allows them to move further quicker in their classes as well. So we do have credit recovery if they came in behind like that, but the idea is that with the 13%, they've got to get more than 13% of school done a week in order to get past that level of just staying where they're at. So them being hooked up and ready to work is what's going to get them further ahead. Also, like I said, we have the dual enrollment with ORU as well, or Rutgers University out of Tulsa. And the good thing about that with our educational fellowship with Oral Roberts University and the ICAA, a lot of the times the students that do the Advantage program, which is the name of the program that we use for our students online that are in high school, they get college credit for the classes, but they usually offer our students a $19,000 a year scholarship just for being in the Advantage program while being here. And so there's also other ways that we can do scholarship information with them as well, if that's the way that your student chooses to progress after that. Some of our kids that we get here aren't ready for Oral Roberts Unity. We get kids here that have a 504 or an IEP, and a lot of the way that we have our classroom set up meets a lot of the accommodations for the student. Also, we also in our Ignition program have the school where it'll do a talk to text. So let's say some kids, they're not as great at comprehension, so they have to hear it and see it as they're reading it along. We do offer that talk to text, so that helps out with that accommodations. Giving more time on assignments, that helps for some of the IEPs and stuff like that. So we can't always do all of the accommodations of an IEP or a 504, but to some degree our classrooms are already set up in ways that help students that have IEPs or 504s. Also, one of the things that we have here that is unique to us is that we actually offer sports, and we do some fine arts competition and like dramas and drawings and stuff like that that we also use at when we go to churches. So in order to be able to be eligible to play sports, they have to meet their 13% of the school week. Then they also have to have a good attitude, and I actually have to be able to trust them to go off campus. If your student is not having a good week and, you know, maybe he's talked about running away, I can't trust him to go to a game, then I'm not going to send your student to a game. I have to be able to trust the students. I have to believe that, you know, that they're giving me their best efforts in school and stuff. Also, we have 3 sports for the boys and 3 sports for the girls. We do 8-man football for the boys, we do basketball and track, and then for the girls we do volleyball, and then we do basketball and track. And so for some of those classes, some of those sports, like for volleyball, they don't have to have the newest volleyball shoes. Some kids will be like, I do, but some of them don't. But you guys would probably want to get them their own knee pads and stuff. Sometimes the kids will tell you they need cleats and stuff. So those are some of the things. We do have some cleats that have been left here before, but if you'd rather have your student bring their own cleats. We don't have a lot of spikes, so if your kid's a sprinter and they tell you they need spikes, we don't have a plethora of spikes here. Shoes for running in sports, so they might tell you that they need something like that. But if you have a question on things that they're telling you they have to have, you can feel free to email myself or Miss Gordon, and we'll let you know specifically what they're needing. So one of the things I forgot to mention about the sports is that once they start the sport, they have to finish it. And with sports, it goes also with if there is a game over pass, the students have to be at that game, and then they can go on pass after the game, and we wrap it around. So usually, like, our passes are like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If we have a tournament on Saturday, then you guys can come and watch. If the kids already passed their 30 days, you can come and watch, and then they can go with you Friday night, Saturday, and come back Sunday or something like that. However, our program directors have that set up for pass. You can contact their program managers and stuff. They'll tell you, but we wrap it around so that parents can actually come to the game, and then also take their kids on pass, because some of you guys don't get an opportunity to watch your kids play. I know that my parents are doing monthly updates and emailing you and kind of let you know how school's going with your students, kind of let you know the events that are coming up, maybe some needs that you could talk to your students about. But if you have any questions on top of that, just let us know. We'll do our best to contact you. Sometimes it's better for me just to set up a phone conference instead of emailing back and forth, because it's easier to hear what's going on. So if that is something that you want to look into or want to do, we just need to set up a conference time. If you have questions about this video, you can email me, Rachel, RACHEL.Nicholson, NICHOLSON, at thecrosschristian.com, and I can answer your questions, or you can do our first last name for Miss Gordon and Miss Carrie Collins as well. So if you have any questions, let me know, and hope you found this tutorial as educational and gives you a little bit of a better understanding of how the school is ran here. And I hope you have a great day.